Okay, so in today's lesson we're going to take a look at last night's homework, which is the question over here, and we're also going to take a look at some new stuff that will kind of compress data down. So if we had a number of entries of data that were, let's say, between 0 and 2, and we knew there were 6 of them, well, then we could just write 0 to 2 and the number 6 underneath it to say that there was 6 in the domain of 0 to 2. So that's where we'll be moving on to. And as normal, when we come across something in statistics, we're going to be finding out its averages, its mean, mode, and median. So that's where we need to go. So the new thing that you're going to be looking at today, when I introduce it, you guys need to be thinking about how do I find the mean, the mode, and median. It's pretty straightforward if you're okay with this type of thing here. So let's jump into last night's homework. Modal, first of all. So modal, well, that means mode, okay? The most common one. So this information here is telling me that there were 10 matches in which there were 0 goals scored. There were 25 matches in which there were 1 goal scored. There were 30 matches in which there were 2 goals scored. 25 matches, 3 goals scored. 10 matches, 4 goals scored. And 0 matches where 5 goals were scored. So that's kind of interesting because we now have kind of the frequency, or how often things occur in this row here. So for example, this is how often number 3 occurs. This is how often number 2 occurs. And I think that that's the biggest that in this row. So that must be the most common one, the one that occurs most frequently. And so 2 is the one that occurs most frequently. So modal number of goals scored is 2. So that's a very straightforward question, okay? I probably did more talking there than I needed to do. Mean, on the other hand, it's a bit trickier, okay? Because mean, well, this is how we approached it before. We would have done something silly like this. We would have put in 10 zeros, so we would have gone 10 zeros, 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus ... and do 10 of those. And I do 25 ones. 25 ones. Imagine if I had to write out 1 25 times. It'd be 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. There has to be an easier way of adding them all up. Because to find the mean, we have to add them all up, divided by how many there are. That's obviously not the best way of doing that question. So we're going to not approach it like that. We could do it like that, and you get the correct answer, but it would be an awful waste of chalk. So we spot that we were going to write down 10 zeros. So in here we write down 10 zeros, like that. So 10 multiplied by 0. And we add that on to 25 multiplied by 1, plus 30 multiplied by 2, plus 25 multiplied by 3, plus 10 multiplied by 4, plus 0 multiplied by 5. Okay, so that's added them all up. We've added them all up. We have to divide it by how many there are. So how many matches were played? Well, there were 10 matches played here, 25 matches, 30 matches. So how would I find out how many matches there were in total? Yeah, I'm going to add all of those numbers together, right? Because I'm going to add 10 matches onto 25 matches, onto 30 matches, onto 25 matches, onto 10 matches, onto 0 matches. So that will tell me how many matches were played. And I can just bang that into my calculator, and I get mean, which is equal to, now, it's been a few days since I used my calculator, it's over here. So let's add them up. So it's fraction, so it's 10 bracket 0 plus 25 bracket 1 plus 30 bracket 2 plus 25 bracket 3 plus 10 bracket 4 plus 0 bracket 5 all over 10 plus 25 plus 30 plus 25 plus 10, which is equal to 2. That answer looks a bit too good to me. I was expecting a decimal to come out, so you'd want to check that. Okay, that looks highly. It's either correct or it's incorrect. I suppose there's always a strict dichotomy, but I wasn't expecting to get a whole number out, an integer value out. So yep, that's finding the mean. Okay, the method is correct. Just check the arithmetic. Now, that was question 6, part 1 and 2. Question 6, part 3 was find the greatest number of matches that could have ended in a draw. So the greatest number of matches that could have ended in a draw. Okay. Well, let's take 3 for example. Okay, so is it possible for a game in which 3 goals were scored to have ended in a draw? Is it possible? So that would mean that one team scored 3 and the other team scored 0. That's not a draw. One team scored 2 and the other team scored 1. That's not a draw. The first team scored 1 and the second team scored 2. That's not a draw. And then we have the 0-3 result. So it's impossible in a game in which there were 3 goals scored for there to be a draw. That just wouldn't work. So similarly, it won't work for 5 and it won't work for 1 either. So we can discount those ones. I might just put some crosses through. Oh, you might have seen my white chalk has arrived. So, and I have a 4th colour I can write with. So, it can't be that, it can't be that, it can't be that. So the only possible ones that draws could occur in was this one, or this one. It would be a 0-all draw, it would be a 1-all draw, and it would be a 2-all draw. We're not saying that it did happen that way. For example, this one here, yeah, those 30, there could have been 32-0 games, okay? But probably not, okay? Sorry, I didn't need to say that, probably not. We don't care, okay? All we're asked to find the greatest number of matches that could have ended in a draw. So these 30 here, they could have ended in a draw. They could have ended 1-all. So the greatest number of them, well, there's 10, 30, and 10. So there's going to be 40 of those. What's this part 3, is it? Just go back to white. And so I think we're talking about 40, because it's 10 plus 30 plus 10, which is 40. And then part IV, which is how many matches could have ended in a 2-all draw. Okay, so if it was a 2-all draw, how many goals were scored in that game? Yeah, there was 4 goals scored, which means we're in this column in here. So we're going to cancel these out. We're going to cancel these out. So we're talking about just 10. So there's only 10 games in which it could have been a 2-all draw. So was the homework from last night. These 2 here were really the important one from statistics. These 2 here are just a bit of thinking. Right, let's move on to the new stuff we're going to be covering today. You might be able to guess how we're going to play out by looking at this thing over here, but let's just focus on this data set over here. And we have something interesting going on here. We've got quite a big data set here. You can imagine that would be even bigger in real life. And rather than kind of each individual value being important, maybe it's kind of, we want more information about kind of the age, or sorry, the local area that this 33 is in, for example. So let's say these were the ages of humans in a, I don't know, at a birthday party or something, okay? And there were a number of teenagers. So this guy here, is he a teenager? I don't know. 11, okay? 11, 12, 15, and 17. So there's a number of teens, or people who are between 10 and 19. And there are a number of people who are in their 20s, and there are a number of people who are in their 30s. And we're going to collect information on the basis of that, okay? So we're going to kind of group, these age brackets together, or these ages into the one bracket. And so we're going to fill in this table here. So on the basis of that, you might want to pause the video now and have a go at that yourselves. But I'll keep working away here at it anyway. So let's answer this one here first of all, 10 to 19. So 10 to 19, well, let's count them. So it's going to be this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. So into here I'm going to put a 4, because there's 4 in the 10 to 19 age bracket. Let's take a look at the 20s. So let's take a look who's in their 20s. So here's this guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So just 5 guys in their 20s. And then the 30s, how many do we have in their 30s? Well, we have, we've 1, 2, 3, 4. Just 4 people in their 30s. All right. Okay, so that's how we kind of compress all this data here into a more manageable table form. Now we do lose a bit of information when we do that. Whenever you do compression like that, you will lose a bit of information, but you know, sometimes it works out okay for us. So we're grouping them together into this frequency table, okay? So this process is called a group frequency table, or a grouped frequency table. Okay, so that's what this is. It's a grouped frequency table, because we're after grouping our different data together because they were within the same neighborhood. So we're in statistics. We have some data. What do you think we want to do with it? Yeah. We want to be able to find the averages if data is given to us like that. So we need to be able to find the mean, the mode, and the median when we're given data in this type of format here. So maybe a nice thing to do would be for me to do it. Let's look at the mode here, and also let's look at the mode here. Let's look at the median here. Let's look at the median there. Let's look at the mean here and the mean there. And we'll see that we're after losing a bit of information when we do that. Okay. So I'm going to divide my board in 2. Yeah. Okay. So first job. Maybe we'll work on this one here first of all. So mode. What's the mode? Mode. What's the mode of this data set? Is there a mode? I just picked this out of my head. There could be, or it could be more than one is the mode. Is it looking like 35? How many 35s do we have? And there's one here. 1, 2, 3. Is there another one that's better than 3 or equal to 3? How many 27s are there? 1, 2 27s. 29. Jeepers, I'm not very inventive with my numbers, am I? 29, 29, only 2 of them. I think that's it, is it, for doubles? Yeah, that could have been scary, okay? So 35 is the mode. Okay, let's take a look at median. So median, I want to use my ticking system. Am I allowed to go ticking with this list of numbers? No, because the middle of that list is there, and if I rearrange them in some other order, the middle will be still there and be a different number. So the median is the middle of an ordered list. So let's list them. So what's the smallest number there? This is a very hard job, by the way, to list numbers. So it's 11. The smallest is 11. So maybe let's cross him out. What's the next smallest? Is there a 12? Is there a 30? There is a 12. Let's cross him out. Is there a 13? Is there a 13? No. 14? No. 15? 16? 17? There is a 17. I have my 14s. I'm looking for 5 in their 20s. So that's going to be, is there a 20? No, is there a 21? 22? 23, 24, 25, 26, so there's 26, 27, 27, 29, 29, and then there's going to be 33, 35, 35, 35. Is that right? So I started out with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 terms. Here I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 terms. So it looks okay. I could have made a mistake, but I think I'm okay with that. We're looking for a median. So what do I do to this list of numbers? Yeah, I now go ticking. So I tick off the biggest with the smallest, next biggest with the next 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 smallest. Oh, and I left with one in the middle. So that guy there is the median. So that is our median. So our median is 27. Right. Mode, median. What's the next one that we need to find out? Mean, of course. So how do I work out the mean of that data set? The mean, what's the mean? It's the primary school average. So that's the kind of the old-fashioned average we would have had in primary school, where we had to do what? We had to add them all up and then divide by how many there were. So add them all up. I can do that on my calculator. So I can go, let's use this thing here because it's nice and clean. So 11 plus 12 plus 15 plus 17 plus 26 plus 27 plus 27 plus 29 plus 29 plus 33 plus 30, 35 plus 35 plus 35 is equal to 331. So we're going to have 331 mean. That spells mean, by the way. That's an A, believe it or not. It's 331 all over. I think I had 13 terms. So the mean is equal to 331 divided by 13, which is equal to 25.5 or thereabouts. So the mean value is 25.5. Is mode a good average in that case? Would you consider mode, if you were asked for the average age of people at that party, do you think 35 would be a good average? Don't think so, no. So you wouldn't give mode as the average you would use in that case, right? Because that's obviously not the average, right? In fact, that's the kind of very top end. Okay, so let's work out those three things in relation to our grouped frequency table. Mode. So we don't know what the mode is anymore. We cannot specify a particular mode. Okay, we can say the modal age bracket was 20 to 29. Okay, so that would be the modal age bracket. Okay, yeah. So we're actually, it's not actually the mode. It's not the mode of the data we had, but it's now called the modal age bracket. So the answers we get over here will be different than the answers we get over there, because when we compressed them into their age brackets, we lost a bit of information. Specifically, we lost their unique values. Right, mode. Median. Median, okay. So how many terms do I have? I have 13 terms. So to find the middle of 13 numbers, we go 13 plus 1. So I know the median is at 13 plus 1 over 2. So the amount of numbers I have, we add 1 onto it and we divide it by 2, and that gives me 7. So I know the median is at the 7th term. If I go from here to here, I've only covered 4 terms, but if I go from here to here, I've covered 9 terms. So when I went from here to here, I passed by 7. I passed by the 7th term. So therefore the 7th term must be in this column in here. So the median must be median bracket is equal to 20, 29. So the median is 20 to 29. That's the median age bracket. And then we need to talk about mean. And median here, I need to talk about that. Median, 20 to 29. That's important because it matches up with the one over here. Okay, and we should see agreement between these two. Yeah, if you do it this way, you should get an answer that's in here, okay? Because you're actually talking about a specific number. Yeah, and we're actually finding out that that number is in the 7th position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if we hadn't lost that information, we would have been able to get 27 out again, but we've given up our individual values in order to group them. And then the last one, which is mean. Okay, mean is going to be a bit tougher to do. To find the mean, okay, we can't find the mean of this system here as it currently stands. We're going to have to use something called mid-interval values. So, if I was asked to find the mean, I would have to add up 10 to 19 4 times. But I don't know if there's 4 10s or if there's 4 19s. I don't have access to that information over there. So when I add these up, it could be 40 or it could be 76. 4 19s is 76, I think. Okay, it could be 40 or it could be 76. That's nearly twice as much. So you could be out by 100%. So what we do is we take a number in here that kind of averages out all of the data in here. So 10 to 19, well, we could just give that kind of the value 14 and a half, right? Because that's kind of halfway between 10 and 19. Yeah. So we could go 10 plus 19 all over 2, which is equal to 29 over 2, which is equal to 14.5. So 14 and a half is the mid-interval value. Mid-interval value. So we call from 10 to 19 the interval, and then the mid-interval will obviously be the one that's halfway between 10 and 19. Mid-interval, okay? So it's in the middle of the interval. And we notice that none of our original data was actually 14 and a half. Yeah, they were all integer values anyway, but there was nothing over there is even 14 from what I can gather. No, it's not even a 14 or a 15, it is a 15, okay, but that's just a coincidence. This 14 and a half does not exist over there. But yet we're applying 14 and a half to each value, to each of these 4 values. So when I add up these ones here, I will get 14 and a half. I'll have 4 of those. Similarly, I will have 5 24 and a halves. Can we see how I'm going to get 24 and a half? Yeah. Well, kind of, in order to get from 10 to 14 and a half, I had to go forward 4 and a half. So in order to get from 20 to the halfway mark, I'm going to go 4 and a half again, so it's 24 and a half. And then I'll have 4 34 and a halves. And this is where people might get a little bit lost, okay? So full attention here, guys. Yeah, so I've added them all up. I need to divide it by how many there are. So add them all up divided by how many there are. There's 4 there, 5 there, and 4 there. So that's going to be 4 plus 5 plus 4. Okay, I had a problem in the past where a class taught there were only 3 columns. So we're only going to divide by 3. But in each of these columns, there's a number of terms. There's 4 terms in this column, there's 5 terms in this column, and there's 4 terms in this column. So there's 9 plus 4, so it's going to be all over 13. So the mean, which is what we're working out, is equal to, calculator job I think, 4 start bracket 14.5 plus 5 start bracket 24.5 plus 4 start bracket 34.5 all over 4 plus 5 plus 4, which is equal to 24.5. So my answer to that question is 24.5 is the mean. Okay, that's just a coincidence that I worked out to be the mid-interval value. It doesn't have to be that, okay? And we can kind of see that because we have symmetry here, 4 there, it will actually be the mid-interval value of this. But don't be too worried about that, okay? More important is the process. That's how we find the mean of a grouped frequency table. So I'm going to pause the video there, and I'll put up homework for you guys to do tonight, okay? So finding the mean, the mode, the median of a grouped frequency table. Okay, I have the homework on the board here. So we're on page 225, and we're going to do question 4, and we're going to do question 5. Let's just maybe take a look at it, see how it is. There is, I think, one questionable word there, distribution. Okay, now this thing here, that's a distribution. Okay, it's a table that represents how data is distributed. Okay, so that's called a distribution. Okay, so there's 4 there, there's 5 there, there's 4. That's a distribution. So it's just, whenever you see the term distribution, just think about it as a frequency table, and in this case it happens to be a grouped frequency table. Okay, so question 4 and question 5, I'll have a go at those before Friday when I get them up for you on Friday. Will I? I may not. I might be away on Friday. Yeah, so I'm going to be away on Friday. So, and it's a long weekend as well, is it? So, I won't be seeing you until this day next week. So, yeah, sure, lads, have a go at those 2 questions. You know what? I'm going to stick up question 6 there as well. Okay, so question 6, you have an entire week to do these, okay? Do your best with them, and check your answers at the back of the book as well, very important. Okay, so I'll see you guys next week.